I'm back. I was just thinking about it, like walking from there to here, and I was thinking about it. Um, like, why am I recording all of this? That's a good question, and I know the answer. But I thought I'd just take a minute just to tell you. Because what I was thinking about is I was thinking that someday I'm going to watch this back in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever it is, and think how awesome my hair is. Um, but I'm going to look back at it and I'm going to have to tell all of my students and my instructors that this was day two, day two on my timeline. It's a new timeline. Basically, that's just too hard to explain right now, and it's just too new in my brain, and I don't know enough about it. But I've awakened. I guess that's it. Um, I've had 3 encounters with the source, and if you would have asked me a month ago what the source was, I'd be like, dude, it's like, I don't know. Source of what? Oh, this journey has just been insane. But I did a full moon ritual a couple days ago, and that was my first one ever. My girlfriend did them all the time, so I did them with her, but she always did them. Um, and I participated a little bit, and I enjoyed it. It was helpful and good intentions and all of that stuff. So I embraced it as much as I could at that point in the fog. It's horrible. Um, but I did a moon ceremony, and I wasn't even going to go do it because it was really cold out and it was raining. And I told myself I was going to go down to the lake to do it. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go down to the lake. I'll just do it here. And I was watching YouTube. I was just scrolling on YouTube and I saw a video and I just was drawn to it. I just clicked it. Dolores Cannon. She's talking about awakened souls. It's like the first time I've ever heard this. And something told me that I had to go to the lake. So I literally watched that video and I put on it was dark. It's like right now it's really dark out and it's really cold. It's probably snowing right now, but it was raining that day. And I'm like, I don't want to go to the lake. I'll just do the moon ceremony at the window. I'll open the window up. I'll get some fresh air. Could probably see the oh, I couldn't see the moon that night because it was just clouds, total clouds. Didn't have any idea where the moon was. But something told me, like it just pulled me to the lake and I just listened. And as soon as that video stopped, I just packed up all my stuff and I went down to the lake. And holy shit. I had a routine that I was a ceremony that was all put together by Rowan, my assistant. And I just did it. And I didn't get very far in. I got to the breathing and I did the breath work that I'm supposed to do. And it was easy stuff. Like I do some harder breath work now. I've kind of worked my way up and do some long breath holds. And this was like a 7-second breath hold. So I did 4 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, and 8 seconds out. So a slow breath out. So it looks like this. So like that. And so just however many times you do it. So I got to the point where I held my breath and I started to let it out. And everything went white. There was no sky. There was no sky. And my knees buckled underneath me and they just started shaking and my whole body started shaking because like my knees are buckling, like my upper body is like, I don't know, I'm kind of big. So I was like, I thought I was going to pass out. I was going to fall in the lake. I was going to die. and it was intense. The veil. I saw the veil. The See, I can't explain all this stuff because like it's just really all this stuff is so new to me. I started the actual journey like every day. Every day I was committed. Every day since December 1st. Today is January 6th. Think about that. I have learned so much and I've just worked at stuff. I do breath work, I do meditate, I do all the things. And I was just so committed to it because I needed to. I need to be healthy. Like I want to enter the world again. And I want like I have big plans and I've always been a person that thought big. Not for the past 7 years, 7, 8 years. Just I gave up on life. Um, but the everything just went white. I almost passed out. The veil between the moon and the earth, like I saw it. I don't know. I think some people call it heaven. The veil. I called it the veil. And then every day since then. That was on the second or the third, whatever. I think it was the third, yeah. So the full moon, it was a Cancer something super moon. Cancer super moon. It's really powerful, I guess. I can tell you it was. Um, but like I was chosen. I was chosen because I have been through so much in my life from the time I was little. And not like I was sexually abused all the time or I was sold into slavery, like not like that. But like I have been through a lot of hard stuff, especially the last 10 years. Cancer, ALS, um, COVID, divorce, closed a really successful real estate business. And that's when I checked out, like really checked out. I haven't worked in over 2 years now. And I've crushed it in my life. Like I've done very well. Some really shitty years too, because I'm in real estate. Let's get real. But some many good years, a lot of money. But it's just it all added up. All the childhood emotional neglect and me bearing my feelings and not knowing who I am and having to pretend that I'm somebody else, that like I couldn't be the person that I am inside because like I'm that emotional empath. Like I feel things and I didn't understand it and I didn't feel safe. I never said that as a kid. Like I just now I look back cuz I've journaled a lot. I think I'm at about 60, I don't know, 65,000 words in the past month, a little over a month from December 1st. Actually, I think the first day I journaled was like November 27th. And then I didn't do it for 3 days. And it was a picture. It was one picture. That was my first day journaling. And then 3 days later, I actually wrote something in the journal. And then December 1st, something, I'd have to look back, something happened. And I fucking committed. I said, this shit's got to change. I think I understand now what I need to do because I'd done a lot of research in the first 30 days. Even in the fog, like I knew I needed to fix myself. I needed to figure out what's wrong with me. And through YouTube, I learned that it all started with emotional neglect as a young child. Fact. I've never been diagnosed by a real doctor. I've diagnosed myself, and I know this for a fact because I know my life and I know my parents. And it doesn't make them bad people because they are good people. They did not, like, they are a product of their environment and they never knew any different, and they raised me the best that they could, best that they knew how. But that's what it happened. Like, it was emotional neglect that caused me to bury my feelings and pretend to like be somebody else. And I was angry starting at like 13. I was mad. I was a mad kid. My parents got divorced, and I'd go to my dad's house and just like sit there on the wrong side of town and watch TV like all the fucking time, play video games, which of course that's a little fun, but like I was always outside. Like, I liked hanging with my friends and I liked the girls. But just all that stuff. And so eventually, like, I started having shame moments. Like, something would happen and I'd have to bury it, and then I'd be ashamed of it, and that shame would sit inside of me. And that happened probably thousands and thousands of times. Thousands of times. Just burying shame. And it probably wasn't always even logical shame. It was just something that I created in my head that I just felt shame about. Stupid shit. But it added up. And then once I got to 2016, I think it was about 2016, the first domino fell. Little dominoes, just a little domino. It was a business deal that went bad, lost $140,000. But that just, it crushed me inside. And I lost trust in people. And so I retreated. And my son got cancer right after that, 15 years old, non-Hodgkin lymphoma. So luckily I had a good enough business. I had a good business. I had good leadership in place, and they supported me, and I said, I'm out. Like, I'm going to take care of my kid. And so I did for 1 year. I took a year off work, and looking back, I went back to work, but I really didn't. Like, here, I wasn't there. Without me, my business went down 50%. 50%. We went from, I don't know, like 120 to 60 something sales in a year. Which, you think, like, you sold 60 houses in a year? Yeah, I had a big business, and I also had like $50,000 a month in overhead. Yeah, that's real life. So I checked out. I took care of my son, and I was happy to do it. I wanted to do it at that point. I was not having fun. And his mother is a good mom. She loves him so much. He's a great kid. So tough. He's a tough fucker. I love him. But they just didn't mesh in that way to spend tons of time together. She worries a lot. She had a lot of anxiety, and it kind of would have just driven him nuts. And we're built kind of the same. Like, I could just sit in a room and not talk and just like read a book or do whatever. I don't feel the need to just always put myself out there. Like, I like quiet time. And when it's taking care of my kid, like, I like that more because I love him. So I took that year off, and my wife, her mom got ALS, like right around that same time frame. She passed away a year and a half later, and she was awesome. She's such a nice woman. I still miss her. So after that, so then we moved in with her parents. Yeah, seriously. Oh, God. Things that we've done. But it was necessary, and never regret it. We just spent time with her and took care of her. Well, I mean, I did whatever I could, but Katie and her dad. But she passed away a year and a half later with all of us surrounding her in her bed. surrounded by love. She was at peace. She was tough too. Never complained. I never heard her complain throughout the whole thing. Watched her body deteriorate over a year and a half, slowly. Every day a little bit worse. And now it's hard on the whole family. So made it through that. And we'd been talking about getting a divorce 3 years before, or like right before Connor was diagnosed with cancer. We were talking about divorce, like serious. We'd been talking about it for a couple of years, and we'd been going through counseling for maybe like 3 years, 4 years, and that didn't work at all. No, that was pointless. A waste of money. And I'm not saying that therapy is a waste of money, because it is not. Like, I believe in therapy in the right situations, but that situation with us, yeah, it just wasn't, there was nothing left. She checked out 15 years before. So I lived in a loveless marriage for 15 years, and like, I don't blame, I'm not putting this on her, because like, I think I mentioned a few minutes ago, like, I didn't know how to love. Like, I didn't know how to express love. I literally did not know how. I said I love you. I said the words, but I didn't know what love was. And I didn't know how to show my emotions. And I called it my emotion chip. I always said, I'm just missing an emotion chip. And related it to like being in the military. I'm like, I probably would have been pretty good in the military. Like, I'm athletic, I'm strong. I, I don't know. And I just don't have emotions. That's what I would think. So I called it my emotion chip. And so I don't blame her. She's a great person, and just a really good mom. She loves those kids, and that means more than anything to me. So we'd been talking about getting a divorce for a long time. And after her mom passed, Connor was in remission. I made the call, because we were still talking about it. It's not like I made the call. We couldn't do it. We could not say the words. We could not say the words. We couldn't say it's time to get a divorce, because neither one of us wanted to give up on our family. But it was necessary. And so I said the words. I said, we need to do this. It's time to get a divorce. And we both cried. And so we went through that process, which was very amicable, because if you didn't already know this, I was completely checked out. I was like, all those traumatic events, the little ones over the previous, whatever, however many years, 40 years, they added up to be a very big weight on my soul. But it wasn't enough for me to, like, people look at me and go, that dude needs to get his shit together. No, I had a successful business. Like, I was kicking ass and taking names. I mean, I saw it decline, and I knew how I felt inside. But all those little traumas, they added up. And eventually the big ones hit: the cancer, the ALS, or the business deal, the cancer, the ALS, the divorce. And I gave her everything. I didn't care. We went to mediation, and the mediator's like, this is the easiest mediation ever. I just gave her everything. I go, I'll just rebuild. That was my mindset. I'm like, I'll just rebuild it. Like, I have the skills to do it. I can do it. But little did I know that, like, my nervous system was shutting down in that moment. Yep, my nervous system was shutting down. My brain started shutting down. Nothing was safe anymore. And I retreated into my ice cave. And the fog just rolled in. And I did stupid shit and pushed my 2 oldest kids away from me. And that was the biggest shame. That hurt the worst. Internally, I took that shame and I buried it deep, because I didn't want to feel that pain. It was heavy. But that took me to a whole new level of shutdown. And I never came out of that. I just numbed my way through the next 4 years. 4 years. I mean, essentially, it was probably 5 total, and 7 where the 2 previous years, my nervous system was already shutting down or had shut down. I just didn't know it yet. Yep. And that 4 years led to a 6-month period last October. It's January right now. Mid-October, it got so bad and I was so unhappy. And I just hated myself so much, and nothing made me feel good about myself. I was in a relationship and living with someone, and like I could do nothing right. Nothing. But like I I own it. I own it. I couldn't. I mean, I did some things right, but like I was just in a bad place. So talk about a hard on her. Fuck. Like she was a saint for just trying. Most people never would have. And I love her. But spent 6 months living with her, and every day got worse and worse and worse. My nervous system wasn't only shut down, but it was in a constant state of fight or flight. And so I was just waiting for something to happen, because I was just like, I was always doing major screw ups. Like I got my real estate license because like I'm good at it. I'm like, okay, it's time. I can do this. Let's get back in. And my nervous system wouldn't let me do it. I passed the test. I got like a 94. So I can study during a fog. That's good to know. But I've been doing it for 25 years. So like, come on. But once it came down to actually getting into the trenches and start selling, I went into the office. I set the office up, talked to this guy in the office, was getting ready to go to a class with a bunch of people that I probably knew a lot of them, and they hadn't seen me in years. And the shame inside of me just hit boom hard. And I said, and my nervous system said, fuck that. We are not going to that room. You are not going to that room. My heart's beating really fast and I'm heavy and I just like having a hard time breathing. Not like so bad that I'm like on the floor dying, but like I feel it. Everything just was shutting down. And I got out of there and I told her, I go, I can't do real estate. Like my body is not letting me. It's telling me that it does not want me to do this. And I want to do this. And I want to help. I just couldn't. I was fucked up. But that caused a lot of problems. She felt real shitty. I don't blame her. But then it just took one day. She was on a work call and I don't even remember all the details, but she just said, "You're like a teenager." And the shame inside of me just snapped. My brain snapped, everything snapped. I was like in a rage, but I didn't like yell or anything. I just got the fuck out of there. I went and I grabbed my backpack, I grabbed my water, and I walked straight out. And like my brain was just in flight mode big time. And it was so bad that I just walked all day and all night. I just walked from place to place. And I found a tree. I laid down under the tree. Just laid down under the tree with my backpack as my pillow. Maybe laid there for an hour or two, just staring at nothing, wanting to die, just not wanting to live. Feeling like if like the only person that I think loves me is like, this is how we are, there's nothing left. Like I had one friend in the world, all my friends, and I had a lot of friends. I was very well known in my local community. Um, but when the divorce happened and I isolated myself, they all disappeared. I haven't talked to like my best friends 5 years, 6 years. Makes me sad. Makes me sad that they would just like not care, not even try to call once. But I don't blame them too. I mean, they've got kids, they've got busy lives and sports and businesses and like I get it. Still makes me sad. Cuz some of them I thought we were pretty close, but also I also realized that I don't, or at least I didn't at that time. I didn't create real emotional bonds. Like most of my relationships were pretty surface level. They were awesome. Like we liked each other, our group, and we had fun. Did lots of fun shit. River trips. We'd get a house on the river and do rafting and drink and party and just have fun. But I was laying under the tree and I'm just staring at nothing, and then I'd get up and I'd walk some more and I'd find a park bench and I'd sit there and I'd stare at nothing, thinking about ways to die. And then I ended up at like late at night. I don't know. It's probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And she didn't even text me for a whole day. I don't even know what time she ended up texting me. And I'm like, she doesn't give a shit. So it just reinforced the thoughts that were going in my head. But she eventually texted me, and it doesn't matter what she said. Like, she must have tracked me or something. Like, find my iPhone, because she found me, or I told her where I was, and she came. She picked me up, and just it's never the same. Went straight downhill, and I knew I had to leave. She knew I had to leave. Like she had her own stuff. She just came out of a marriage that wasn't awesome. Like she had some trauma that she had to work through, and she never had the opportunity to do that. And I feel bad about that. Like we never should have moved in together. I had nowhere to go. I had no one to turn to. And she was the only one willing. And I love her for it. I wish she didn't do it though. Maybe I could have figured something else out. I don't know. But it ruined that relationship. But sitting on that at that picnic table, I realized that I wanted to live. I made the choice. Because I thought about taking my life a lot that day. That's the only time I've ever really thought about it like that. I've suffered from depression for a long time. Depression, anxiety, been on medication, long time. Had ups and downs, owned my own business, like been through really hard markets. There have been times that I've thought, fuck, is it even worth this? Is it even worth living? Like a horrible marriage for forever. No passion. God, it was just miserable. My life was miserable. There were aspects of my life that were miserable, and there were some that were just like I loved my kids. I loved them a lot, and I spent a lot of time with them. And I volunteered in the schools. I did all of the activities. I went on field trips for like all my kids' classes because I own my own business and I prioritized them. Never regret it. But on at that picnic table, I decided I'm going to live, because I was thinking about my kids and I was thinking about their kids that they do not even have yet. And I want to meet their kids, and I want to fix the relationship with them, because I love them. I always have. And I've just like this, it's killed me to be away from them for so long. They haven't talked to me in almost 4 years. I don't even know how long, 4 years, somewhere around 4 years, until recently. Through all of this work, I wrote him a letter and I owned all my shit. I owned it all. And I never saw it when I was in the fog, when I was living in the ice cave. I had no idea. Like, I just thought that they didn't want me to be happy and they just couldn't, like, I don't know what. Fuck, it doesn't matter. It's stupid. It wasn't logical. And like, I hurt my daughter so bad, and she wrote me this letter. And I read it and I put it away. I buried it. I buried that letter. And as I was coming out of this, on, I think it was like November 2nd, maybe the 4th, early November. So I was still in a fog and I still had a little bit of weed. So I was totally high. But once I ran out, I was done. I haven't touched it since. It's probably been like, I don't know, almost a month and a half. Not like it's that long. It seems like a lifetime ago. Oh my God. So much has happened. But I pulled that letter out and I read it again. And I read it with a clearer mind. It was not clear yet, but it was clearer. And I read it and it absorbed. And I cried and I wrote him a letter that just said, I'm really sorry. Whatever it said, it basically, I just couldn't see it at the time. And I get it. Like, I read that letter and I hear you. All of it is valid. And I'm sorry that I hurt you like that. And so I was going to go to Portland to go visit them, but I was going to stay with my girlfriend who I transitioned away from, like, whatever, my ex. And I couldn't bring myself to do it because I was working so hard on myself at that point. And I made so much progress. I'm so glad that I didn't go. I really am. I just don't see that I would be in the place that I'm in right now, having gone to Portland. And maybe I could be wrong, but like, I am literally at the early stages of like enlightenment. Me. Things have happened that, like, they're just truly miracles. I asked, I begged, like, my higher self and the source to fill me with love and light. This was last night. And I felt a shock wave through my body. It started in my left hand. And it went up my left hand into my whole body. It engulfed me. And I just felt it. I felt the, like, tingling through my whole body. I felt love and light from the source. Never would have believed that, ever. It just sounds so weird even to me right now. That's why it's like I talk about some of this stuff and I have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know the words. But I know my story, so I figured, oh, I talk about that a little bit. I don't even know where I ended. Amazing things have happened. I know that much. And the decision not to go to Portland, that was a turning point for me. Because that was the first time in that relationship that I ever put myself first. I know that as a truth. I lived for that girl. I loved her so much. I would have done anything for her. And I was just so codependent. Just the place that I was in my life. Like, and how much of an empath I am, and she is too. I absorbed her energy. So every time she would look at me shitty, I'd feel so shitty. And that's not her fault. That's mine for taking it on. But that was like the state that I lived in all the time. But that was the first time that I chose me. I did not go. I wanted to go bad. I missed her so much. But she just started getting a little bit weird, and she started pulling back a little bit. And I just saw me going there and getting just dysregulated, not doing my breath work and not doing all the things I was just kicking ass at, and going downhill, going backwards. And like, I'd worked so hard up to that point. I couldn't go back. So I chose myself. And if you've ever been the type of person that just gives yourself to other people because like you don't like yourself, you don't like your situation, that's what I did. Like, I didn't want to talk about my shit, but I could talk about your shit. I was a pretty good coach. Actually, I was a really good coach. Really good real estate coach. But I didn't want to own my shit, and I didn't want to talk about it. That's for damn sure. So I just poured myself into that relationship, into her, and it was magical. Like, she's magical. But our history is history, and I was not going to put myself in a position to jeopardize my growth and the trajectory that I felt. And I saw the future ahead of me. And it was very dim at that point. It was just a little speck. And now, like, I see a beacon of light out in the distance, a flame. I am the sleeping phoenix, risen from the ashes. And I have taken flight now. That's the first time I've said this. Before, I'd always say, I'm prepared to take flight. That was the first time I just realized that I am no longer prepared to take flight. I might have baby wings but I'm flying because I have love and light inside of me. And my brain and my nervous system is in the process of being reprogrammed right now. I can hear it in my head. When in the full moon ceremony, when my knees buckled, that was the download. It wiped my hard drive clean. That's exactly what it did. That's the power of the source. It wiped my hard drive clean, and I think it was the next night it downloaded into me to restart reprogramming me. And it's been a lot, and I feel a little bit heavy sometimes, and I just keep doing the work. Like, I think I've meditated twice today, done one breath work and one humming, and video journal. This is the longest video journal I've ever done, 38 minutes so far. But just talking about stuff like this, even if it's just to the phone, like, it helps me. It frees me. It just releases a little bit more. And when you're like me and you've been bearing it for so long, and it just adds up, and it's just so heavy, it weighs you down. And that's not a life. And through this process, like, I've been released of all of it. And I don't feel perfect. Trust me. I'm still working through shit too. But I know what the future is going to hold because I know what's inside of me. And I know what I have to give to other people. And that's where this whole video started, was me walking from the TRE video of me shaking around and shit. And me thinking that someday I'm going to have coaches or trainers or staff or whatever, and they're going to watch this video and just be like, dude, Andy, you didn't even know what you're talking about. Because my first step is I'm writing a book. I'm not going to start it for a year or so, probably a little bit less, maybe 10 months, a year. My first priority is me. I'm putting myself first. I am making myself better. I continue to do my work. I continue to journal just like this. And someday I will be able to use this as content because my story is powerful. I mean, you've heard most of it. I mean, I've left out a lot of stuff. And you probably are thinking, fuck, that's bad. Like, that's hard. And yep, it was. And it broke me. Broke me to the point where strong dude like wanted to just wither up and just die. But not anymore. So, so yeah, it's all full circle. Someday we're just all gonna look back at this and be like, first of all, you don't have a lot of gray hair. Someday it's probably all gonna be gray. And second of all, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I'll be like, I do too. I knew my story and that was it. I probably said a bunch of stuff wrong when it comes to, I don't know, astrology, human design. They've taught me so much. Like it showed me my life, like my life path and where I'd come from. And I'm like, yeah, I went through all of that. And this is where I'm going. And it gave me hope. Like, yeah, I was excited. Something to give me hope. Okay. That's going to be it for tonight because my eyes are getting sleepy. So thanks for listening. It's been fun. See you next time.